Hi, welcome to Chas Speaks, where I speak on things related to politics, faith, motivation, and things related to the culture. And today I have David Sypher on, and he started a new group, and it's called the New Jersey Black Republican Club, and he is the founder and chairman. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his journey to conservatism and about why he started this new group and what his mission is, and just a little bit more about himself. But before we get into this, please like, share, subscribe, push the bell notification to know when I load more videos. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into this. All right, David, how are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be on the show. Happy. We
Well,
supposed to been do this for like 2 months ago, but
I know things have been so busy, crazy busy with my schedule, crazy busy with your schedule. I'm glad
yeah,
we're finally able to connect.
definitely. But yeah, as far as my journey, well, it starts in New York where I was born and raised. I grew up obviously like everybody else, cookie cutter Democrat, vote Democrat. I didn't think about it, and then somewhere along the line, I would say about Obama's second term, I started to really like take politics seriously, like not just vote and then that don't worry about it and just get caught up in my own life. Like I really started to take it seriously, and things that happened, like my God bless the dead, the second time she didn't vote for Obama. I said, "Who you voting for?" She said Mitt Romney. At the time, I thought she was crazy. Being Democrat, I'm like, "Yo, you crazy? You gonna get us killed?" You know what I mean? She was, she was voting for. She wanted to vote for Mitt Romney, and I asked her why. She said, "Well, because the more my faith grow in the church, it don't line up. So she made that realization. So she kind of dropped the seed. Now I didn't turn conservative right away. It just dropped the seed, and then after it kept growing and growing. But the problem is I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any outlets, so it kind of lay dormant. And one day I ran across a guy. His name was Brandon Washington. Great guy. He was my mentor. So I hit him up and I said, "Listen, I want to be a part of what you're doing." At the time, he was the president of the Young Brooklyn's Republicans Club. So he was like, "Yeah." So he took me on a road with him. We uh we signed. We did the petitions for candidates. We did the phone bank. We did door-to-door canvassing. We did it all. So I basically just watched this man, watch the good that he did, the mistakes that he made. I had a front row seat to everything. And, he looked out for me. I was on CNN one time, he pulled that for me. So he basically looked out for me. And it came a time in his life where he had to make a decision, because the party wasn't investing in him like they should have. So he kind of, not to tell his story, but because of other things, he kind of fell back. And then that put me back on my own. So I tried to start a group in New York. So boom, I was in the beginning stages. I think I named it Black Conservatives for Prosperity. I forgot the name, but I got a 501c3. I did everything. And then I was blessed and I actually ended up moving to New Jersey. So I was like, all right, now I'm in Jersey politics. There's a whole new world out there. And I want to take all the knowledge that I had and bring it to the forefront in Jersey. So that's what I did. I started reaching out, just putting my roots in Jersey. And then I noticed New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Philadelphia, all of these states have the same problem. Um, we don't have a grassroots wing. I'm talking about as far as Black conservatives. I want to make it clear. As far as Black conservatives, we don't have a grassroots activism infrastructure. It's more like, okay, I'm a Black conservative. I help with the party. If I'm a part of something, I do events or whatever. But there's no active structure that says, okay, our sole mission is to go in the urban centers and actually show our work and actually show what the Republican Party is about. And that's the theme of my new idea, New Jersey Black Republicans Club, where our mission is to kind of put those conservative principles, Republican principles in the urban centers, in the area of entrepreneurship, in the area of fiscal responsibility, in the area of civic and community engagement. So that's our mission. That's where we're putting those values in the urban centers. And obviously our purpose, which I just stated, our purpose, which I created it for, is kind of creating that grassroots bridge between the Republican Party and the urban centers. Now, what is our ultimate vision? Our ultimate vision is that we create impact in the Black community. And I do believe we'll be successful because, like we spoke backstage, there's a lot of people that when they hear I'm Republican, a lot of people don't flip out. They say, hey, listen, I'm Black. I'm at a point now where I don't know who to trust. So who I'm going to trust, who puts in that effort. So if you're Republican, be Republican. Let me see your work. Let me see you come to the urban centers and do something for the people. And that's the response that I've been getting. So it's time to work. So, for everybody that's on my page, there's an event this Saturday, October 17th from noon to 3 p.m. in Paterson, New Jersey, in Montgomery Park. Most of the people that's watching may not live in Jersey, but we're holding a children's book drive. We're giving away books. We're inspiring the youth. We're inspiring these kids to, while they're young, have a love of reading, have a love of learning. It goes a long way. It's just a first event we're putting together. It's a small step, but we're putting our roots down. We're showing people like, hey, listen. Matter of fact, we even had a nonprofit organization that was started by the cops. They heard what we did. And they donate. They said they're going to donate to us, because they see the work that we're doing. They say, hey, listen, we like what you're doing, and nobody's really doing it. So it's about doing the work that nobody wants to do, and especially the Democrats, because they win so much in these areas, they don't even have to campaign. Their machine is so strong, they just say, I'm Democrat and I'm here, and then boom, they win. Or whoever's the establishment Democrat, he wins unopposed with no problem. He doesn't have to shake anybody's hand. He doesn't have to do anything because it's right there for him.
Yeah, and we were talking about that earlier. I think that's crazy. It's like they automatically think that they have the black vote and they don't have to earn the black vote. I think with government a lot, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, whatever, I think that the roles have been reversed and the government has forgotten that we are their boss and that the people have forgotten that we are their boss. It's we the people and not we the government. And I think until we come back into that full circle, I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that black people are just going to keep voting Democrat. Well, a lot of people are waking up to the Democratic Party and how what they've done to the black community. But it is a stronghold. Like even when I tell people, I send them links, I send them information, and they refuse to believe that what I'm saying is true. Even if it's right there in front of them, they don't want to hear it. And I know that's going to be especially you're in the Northeast, that's going to be a stronghold for you to get past those conceptions. But I know you've heard of Kim Klacik.
Mm-hmm. Of
Like
course, of course.
she's in a very stronghold Democratic area in Baltimore, so it can be done. I know when she was interviewed, she said she went out and asked the people why don't they vote Republican, and their response was we've never met one. So I do think that the Republican Party in independence or wherever you fall, and a lot of people are falling more to the Republican Party because the left has gone so far left that it's like I've heard some people say, I didn't leave the Democratic Party, they left me.
Right.
They've just gone so far to the extreme, but a lot of people don't want to get out. They don't want to do the work. They don't, and a lot of them times it's because they're scared. I mean, if you show any support for a party other than the Democratic Party right now, you're subject to get your. I just was hearing a story where these people had a Trump sign out in their house, in front of their house, and someone burnt their house down, and it's crazy. So you know you got to get past the that fear factor,
Yeah.
and then the information.
Right. Right. Like you said, which is really important is that just really just putting yourself out there. I'm the type of person that, I like to study so I can learn more, so I can grow. Um, and like you said before, we have to put ourselves out there. Like Kim Klasick said. I've heard that before. Matter of fact, there was one guy in my hometown in Jersey. He tried to run for a little bit. It didn't work out. I think he got sick or whatever the case may be. But he said that he went in certain areas too, where it was like, you're Republican. Like, what are you doing in this area? You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
there are people that are willing to listen, but we, as the Republican Party, especially as Black Republicans, I always speak to Black Republicans because I am a Black Republican. We have to know that the first part is showing up, but it's not just showing up. It's showing up and showing something. It's showing up and showing. So, like, for example, I research people that a lot of people don't, especially Black Republicans, don't want to research. Like, for example, if you go back to the 60s with Malcolm X, when he was in the Nation of Islam. Do you know the Nation of Islam drew a lot of young Black men away from Christianity? Now, how did they do it? They had a jobs program. That means if you join the Nation of Islam, we have a job set up for you. We got black banks, we got bakeries. What you want to do? You join us, we'll give you a job. You could take care of your old lady. You could take care of your kids. You know what I mean? So I look at those things and like, okay, if I'm starting a grassroots operation, economics is the engine of life. So I'm going to put together a jobs program like, hey, listen, this is what you get if you elect Republicans. Whatever you need, we're here for you. We're all about service. You need something for school, you need this, you need that, you need that. We got it. See, that's how the Democrats are able to get over, because Democrats have a lot of grassroots organizations in their back pocket. So that way, it looks like the Democrat Party is so large because a Democrat can say, well, let me refer you to this homeless program, and all of them will be Democrats. So they'll cheer on the Democratic Party. So when you're in that homeless shelter, because of the alliance, it looks like the Democratic Party did something for me. You understand? They own all of the institutions in that area, and that's what people have to understand. So that means that if somebody gets me a suit and he's Democrat and he owns a nonprofit, he's going to tell me, which you're not supposed to, but they do it anyway. Vote for Joe Biden. That's who's looking out for us. But think about it. This man just bought me a suit when I didn't have anything. And he's associated with the Democratic Party. So I'm going to think they're for me. So what we got to do is put our grassroots people on the ground and letting them know that we can not only match, but we can match better. So the most important thing is, and the Republican Party has been on it, is economics. We definitely need a jobs program, and that's what I'm bringing to Jersey now, because I don't want to let the cat out the bag, because I don't want nobody taking my idea right now. So I'm not going to detail all the ideas, but I'm thinking about a jobs program and how to structure it. And we bring our candidates out. We say, hey, listen, this is what you get when you back the Republican Party. And if we're Republicans and we believe in free market and you get what you're worth, then we have to show our worth to the urban center. We have to actually show our worth. It can't just be, well, I spoke about a bill. People like that upfront, tangible, like people want to be able to point to this guy and say, hey, listen, he really got me a job. He shook my hand. That retail politics, especially in local politics, is strong.
Yeah, I agree, but it also has to start with the mind. When I, so I just got back from Washington D.C. and I'm going to do another video on about my experience there. But I mean, I had so much backlash from that, from people from going, and I had to tell them, like, when you get a personal invite with your name on it to the White House, then you can either accept it or decline it. I accepted it, and it was my honor and privilege to go. But a lot of Black people were saying, well, when has America ever been great? When is this? And I have to tell, and I did break it down to them. about the Democratic Party, and by all counts of it, the main reason America has not been great for Black Americans is because of the Democratic Party. But how do you plan on getting past that mindset of I'm a victim, I'm there, the white man is against me, this, and that? Because some of them want, even some of the most prosperous people that I know personally, not in Hollywood, not in this, not, but some of the people that live in the biggest houses work for 500 fortune companies and or have their own businesses, still ascribe to that I'm oppressed. How do you plan on getting past that mindset of people?
Well, that's a good question. One thing I learned is that if an adult got their mind made up of something, it's very hard to change them. And one thing I learned is that you rarely change anybody through words. You change people through action. And number two, and I know, a lot of people may not agree with me on this because, in the Republican Party, we always say fact over feeling, right? Now,
Right.
I don't 100% agree with that because I know by dealing with human nature, you always win the heart before you win the mind. It's the same thing with any relationship. You you want to talk to a young lady. You could intellectually get her, but usually it comes through the heart first. So it's more of me recognizing that, yeah, we got the facts, and the facts is cool. There's a time and a place for discussion, but there's also a time and a place to win people over, to let them see authenticity, to let them see how genuine you are. Now, as far as the victim thing goes, that comes from, for me, from great real leadership. When you have a leadership problem, all of these things happen. See, if we believe in the Constitution and it says all men are created equal under the law, then we have to be upholders of the law. So that means that if there is a situation where somebody's equal, where somebody's not being treated equal, then we have to hold them accountable. See, a lot of it depends on leadership to me, because if people are not being held accountable, it's easy for people to fill that void with racism. That's all it is. They fill that void. Well, that rich person got over and the poor person did it. It's classism. This happened, that happened. And there's no doubt about it that we live in a society where there's always room for improvement, right? The justice system sometimes get it wrong. Organizations get it wrong. Leadership gets it wrong. So for me, it's more about showing that leadership. And true leadership is always working. That means if there's something wrong, we are there to address it. And when you address these problems, then that strips the victim narrative, because the narrative is based on what I don't have access to or what I'm not getting. But if we're in the community, serving the people, getting everything the people need, then now we can have that discussion about we put the horse in the water in front of you. Now you have to make it the other way. See, the thing is, as long as the people are saying, oh, well, the horse is over here, I can't get to it. So our job is to bring the horse and bring the water and say, here we go. And we have to bring it in a way where there's no excuses. Right now, I feel like because of lack of leadership, there's always excuses. Well, I didn't get it because of this. I didn't get it because of that. So now we have to fill that void with leadership. That means that we have to make sure that these kids have everything we need. We have to make sure that, parents are well aware of how to operate in the market. Because a lot of people with this economic thing, they don't know how to operate in the market. You'd be surprised. You would think, well, you get a job. But a lot of people don't know how to get what they work. A lot of people don't know how to interview. A lot of people don't know how to fill out the resume. So as a Republican Party, we have to be the party that says, hey, listen, we're giving you a hand up. And a hand up means continual service. And I say service because I know you have a lot of followers that are Christian, right? And I always ask Christians, what type of leader was Jesus? He engaged in a type of leadership called servant leadership. It's ongoing. What do you need? It's ongoing. So there's no room for you to feel that way because somebody is always giving you a hand up. Somebody is always teaching you so you'll know better. So there can be no room to say I didn't know, or this guy is stopping me to get great opportunity. And if there is some unfairness within the law, we should address it. Point blank. If it's a legitimate case, I think we should address it. And then that's how we do it. We fill that void with leadership. And I think that's just the best way. But actually going out telling people, stop believing or stop being a victim, I've learned a long time that that'll just get you nowhere. What gets you somewhere is to fill that gap and to keep working. And people come around. They really do. I believe they do.
Well, there is a saying that says that a hungry a hungry belly has no ear for the gospel. You feed them, and then they'll be more inclined to listen to what you have to say.
Yep.
Some people, I mean, I have not experienced such hate since I've recently just came out as a conservative. And it's not that they may be a victim or anything. They just hate Republicans, and these are some of my family and friends. And well, I don't know if they're friends anymore, but ever since I came back from Washington,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's crazy. So one of the things I want to ask you, you've been in this for a while, and I mean, when I first started this, a lot of people told me that, Chas, you're going to have to get a thick skin because people are not going to they're not going to, a lot of people are going to come out against you. They're going to say stuff about you and all of that kind of stuff. But there comes a point where, you're walking this path, and I think I consider myself more of an independent than just a straight Republican. But the Republican Party, right, has the morals and values that I align up with biblically, morally, and things like that, and that's why I vote that way. But people will make you think that you are anti-black, that you are anti yourself, that you are anti your community, and it really does just kind of get frustrating because it's like you've known me for years. You've known my service, you know my works, you've known me. So now all of a sudden I don't like who I am. All of a sudden I'm not pro me, pro my community, even though you've seen everything that I do. And I try to be respectful, especially to the older people in my life. But it does get frustrating, and sometimes it does make me angry because it's like, I give you the respect to vote for, to think however you want, and I think that you should give me that respect too. So how do you balance being, because at the end of the day they can try to say you're not black, but every day we're gonna wake up in this skin color, we're gonna wake up in this body, and no one can take it away. But they do make you feel like you are a traitor to your race. So and I told you I was gonna, kind of dwell on this. How can you reconcile voting the way that you vote,
Mm-hmm.
being who you are, and kind of having it all mesh up in the middle and come together?
Right. Well, part of it is that you're not going to be able to, so to speak, because one thing I learned is that you have reasonable people and you have unreasonable people, and I've crossed both. So as far as the whole pro-black thing, to me, being pro-black is, helping your community, standing up for your community, being a role model, being a mentor, help making the world, making your community a better place. To me, that's the ultimate thing of being pro-black. But the whole thing is, a lot of the people that you're referring to, some of them, and I'm not trying to be funny, some of them are what you call low information voters. So that means they don't look too deeply at policy. They don't look at C-SPAN or look at all the confirmation hearings. They don't dig too deep. They just flick on CNN and whatever some news pundits say. And if it sounds really good, and it sounds like it could be true, they go with it. And then the narrative is that all the Republican Party is racist, and if there's a black person in there, he is just a tool. So if the person believes that, And depending on how strongly they believe that, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I've been kind of fortunate because, you know, I'm not really an online debater. I just I have a mission and I'm on a mission to complete my mission. And what's good about sticking to your mission is that a lot of times you make non-believers believers. Because when they see your mission, they can't deny it. Then they see all the things that you're doing. Sooner or later they're gonna look and they're gonna say, well, the guy that's Democrat I voted for, I've never seen him in my life. I don't know one policy he passed. I don't know what, I can't name one good community act he's ever done, but every time I pop up, I see this guy. So it's a thing where part of it is actually being active. Another part, which is beyond any one person's control, is more of a party thing. I've said this behind the scenes, the Republican Party cannot lay down. They have to fight. If you don't like being called a racist, you have to fight. You cannot lay down. I think a lot of people at the top of the Republican Party, a lot of them have gotten a space where they've come to accept that label because it's been a label that's been around since Ronald Reagan. So you've been hearing it for 30, 40 years so much, I think that even Republicans have accepted it. They've have accepted, and that's something that you can't accept. You can't just accept any label. There's no group on a planet that's done that before. Just accept any label. You go back in time. You look at the history and the legacy of slavery. If you read the stories of slavery, Black people never accepted being a slave. There was always uprisings, people committing suicide because they couldn't accept it. You look at the Holocaust with the Jews, they didn't accept it. So why do we accept it? Why are you just going to lay down and just let somebody give you that label and take votes and take communities from you because you don't want to stand up and say, hey, listen, I am not a racist. Not a racist. And if I am a racist, you show me what criteria do I need to get out of being a racist? Because a lot of the people that's saying, oh, Uncle Tom, cool, whatever this is, I'm going to pull a card. What community work have you done? So by your standards, in order for me not to be an Uncle Tom, what do I have to do? So then if I vote Democrat, then I'm not an Uncle Tom. So that means I could be a lazy guy, sit in my house, do nothing but just go along with the trend, go along with the culture, and I'm not an Uncle Tom, because that's what it seems like it is. If you say, oh, I'm Democrat, and you go along with the chants and the cheers, whatever's popular at the time, you just go along with the trend, then you won't get a call Uncle Tom. I guarantee you. I guarantee. So it's not based on any work. It's not based on, you never asked me what I've done for the community. You never asked, have I tried to pass a bill? All you saw is affiliation, Uncle Tom, that's it. But the guy you vote for, or the woman, AOC, what has AOC done? Besides try to pass that Green New Deal. Right. You ever seen her at the soup kitchen? You ever seen her, like, all I know is that she was a bartender and she blew up and now she's in Congress talking this crazy stuff. And other
than she was it's an interesting story. I'll have to probably share with you offline how she got that. She was mentored by the Young Turks.
Even worse.
I know.
You know, the Young Turks, and I'm gonna just say the Young Turks, for all those Republicans, the Young Turks is a fraud. Because they talk, and this is how they got blown up. They was talking all that crazy progressive stuff, right? And one of the guys on the Turks, he owns a business, right? And his workers wanted to fight for a union, and he stopped them. Right. So this is the same guy that's telling you why, because he knows that if unions come in, they're going to come in with their demand. They're going to come into about, I want $40 an hour, the best health benefits. And it's like, well, does the job require to pay $40? We the union. We don't care. And he knows that. And that's why he fought the union, because he knows that the union, between the pensions and everything, there's no profit margin for him. He's just running a company. That's it. There's no profit margin. Once the union's coming, there's no profit margin for him. And he knows that as a small businessman. And that's why he got blown up the way he did. I forgot the dude's name. It starts with a C. CY something. But all
I don't.
your people, that will look him up, but he got blown up. The same thing he's talking about, oh, we need all this progressive policy. He's trying to fight it. You know why? Because the truth is this. People say, oh, well, shouldn't people have living wage? How are we going to live? Listen, every job on the planet doesn't pay $15 an hour. A lot of jobs do, but many jobs do pay living wage. But you have to up your skills. Like, for example, everybody knows there's a shortage in hospitals. This is a well-known fact. This is not me talking out. There's a shortage in hospitals. It's an 18-month LPN program, right? Well, now because of it's so popular, I think it's a little bit of money. It's probably around 10, 15 grand or something like that. But still, it's not as expensive as going to a 4-year college, right? You take the training program. You come out the gate, what do you think, 60,000 in some of these big cities? For an 18-month program, you're getting trained and certified. And the great thing with getting certified is that you have skilled labor. See, if you get a job where a monkey can do, and I'm not saying in a racist way. I'm saying if you get a job where they could train a dog with a bell and a whistle to do your job, why would they pay you $50 an hour and they can train a freaking dog to flip a burger? And because these animals are smart, they can train them to do that. And then why would they pay you $50 an hour? They pay you because you can do something that a majority of the population cannot do. You got LPN. Matter of fact, with all this green new energy stuff going on, they got the wind and solar plants, right? And the people that service them, those people, those wind turbine, or they call them servicemen, welders, they get like $50 an hour. So it's there. It's there. Now, I'm not saying that there's not unfair hiring practice, because somebody told me, well, I was a welder and because of the union, there was a little unfairness. And I'm not doubting him. And I think he should go to the authorities and get what he's worth if there is discrimination. I'm not doubting against him. But what I'm saying is that the shortage in these industries, they're there. But if if you take a regular job that requires you have non-skilled labor, semi-skilled labor, and skilled labor, and then you have the intellectual class like professors, and they make 200,000 a year and all this other good stuff, and CEOs. So the truth of the matter is you have to come out of non-skilled labor. You start to come in semi-skilled labor, then you see you get paid a little more money. Then you come into skilled labor. Then you go into more the management executive role. They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah, free and getting owing $100,000 in student loans, like, and I think that the that could be something for your program where you educate people. And I know a lot of people may get backlash, but I don't agree with just going from school to a 4-year university to this, unless you are going for like a doctor, lawyer, or something like that. But if you want to be like a if you want to be like a plumber or air conditioner or whatever, it does not take a 4-year degree to make money. As a matter of fact, there are some kids that have like YouTube videos that are making millions of dollars a year. I mean, there's so many, and then online work. There's so many things that you can do to make money, and that doesn't require a 4-year degree.
Right.
So I agree with that. And in Seattle, they did the $15 wage thing, and so many people got laid off because they're like, a business, at the bottom line is going to be profit. You are in business to make a profit, and if people don't think that, then I don't know what world they're living on. So what they did was,
Well,
these people, they're like, okay, well, it's the law. We have to pay you $15 an hour. But you know what they started doing? They started getting automatic machines, and they fired like half their workforce, put them on, put a lot of them on part time, because they, at the bottom line is, I got to make a profit. I still have to feed my family. So they got the $15 an hour, but they ended up, a lot of these people who were like gun ho for, ended up losing their jobs, because a lot of people don't understand how the market works. A lot of people don't understand how business works. And that's why a lot of people out there are rioting and marching for stuff that they have no idea how it works.
right. But for me, I put a lot of things on leadership, and this is where leadership comes in. Because, and I'm not gonna lie, and one thing about me, I'm always transparent. when I grew up as a young black man, I grew up in the urban centers. When I was growing up, we was taught when you 18, we like nobody really promoted being a doctor or skilled labor. My family got lucky because when we was growing up, we 18, take a city test, take a city test. Like back in the 80s, Jesse Jackson even said it, the number one way for black people into middle class is through a city and state job. So I came up under that where they said get a city job, get a city job. So people were making money based on that, but it was based on what they know. And that's the thing. That's where our organization comes in. Because a lot of people do things because they don't know. So if you got a family that's telling you, oh, go in this industry, go in this industry, that's all you're going to know. So we have to broaden the opportunity. Say, hey, listen, we're pushing for you to go be a plumber. We are pushing, we're putting the information out there. In addition to putting the information out there, we're going to do things to push you in that arena. I mean, we're not giving it away, but as an organization, we do have resources that we can provide that will make your transition a little easier. And then you take it the rest of the way. But part of it is making people aware, like, hey, listen, there's jobs out there that can get you to buy that house. There's jobs out there where you can take care of your wife and kids. It's out there. And the thing is that making sure everybody has opportunity. Now, as Republicans, we don't believe in equality of the end result, but we believe in opportunity. So we have to keep working on the opportunity. Some people don't know. Some people live in a small space in the urban centers where they're locked in a certain space. So we have to make sure that the information is available as leadership, and we have to make sure that the people that should hear about it do. So it's always that leadership vacuum. And you know, that's based on my experiences growing up as a kid, and everybody's experiences is different.
All right. Well, uh, thank you so much for your insight, for being on my show. Where can people find you at?
Well, like you said, my group, New Jersey Black New Jersey Black Republicans Club. I just created the group. You can find it on Facebook, New Jersey Black Republicans Club. Um, we're fully new in about another, I would say, month and a half. We're working out the logistics. The website should be up. The official page should be up. But the reason why I'm putting my group name forward is because I'm ready to work. So just because I don't have just because I don't have everything in place, I'm still gonna do for the community. This is a name that I created. So wherever I go, I take it with me. I'm not gonna sit around and wait for the government to sign. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am gonna do the legal aspect, do everything the right way. But I'm not gonna sit around for 3 months and say, "Well, I'm gonna wait for something to come in the mail to certify me." No, I'm out there on the streets. New Jersey Black Republicans Club is out there on the streets making things happen. And then, you know,
All
like,
right. Oh, and what's your YouTube page?
oh, my YouTube page is David. Well, you can see it on the screen. My name, David Sypher, but it's David Sypher's Conservatism. So, yeah, David Sypher's Conservatism. I have numerous videos that you could log on, just watch, and just get something of substance.
All right. So when we're off, send me the website and information. I'll plug it below, and I'll have to have you back on to, especially as it gets even closer to the election. And all right, y'all. Let me know what you thought of this conversation. Let me know what you're thinking of the election coming up. Comment below. Remember, share, like, subscribe, and y'all have a great night.